If you ask me, I have a different take on the whole thing. As an architect and urban designer, I think that this city has hit a point, which is India actually, Indian cities have hit a point where we have urban amnesia. We've forgotten what our cities should look like. When in my childhood, this was one of the most beautiful cities I've ever seen in the world. And we've forgotten completely. So I really want to talk to you today about an alternative view as to how we can approach this problem and give you some tools maybe. I'll unpack it a little bit and give you some tools to find out how you should think about your city in the future. So I'm going to call this talk Past Forward because we forget what we have come through, and we're an old country. The memory of Bangalore today in most people's head is only about 20 years or 30 years. They think it's roughly started the same time as the IT boom. And people don't know that this year, I don't know whether anybody in the audience knows, but do you know how old Bangalore is today, this year? It's 477 years old. It was begun in 1537, and we have forgotten, right? Everybody thinks it started in 1990. So what is really urban experience? Urban experience is a combination of time, it's a combination of your memory, and it's a combination of your imagination. And what is that? It's what you touch, what you breathe, what you feel, what you eat, what you see, and how you think about the future from your point of view, and how does that align with other people's point of view. So I'm going to take you through some quick slides. I'm going to speed up a little bit and quickly show you how Bangalore looked in the past. Can anybody recognize that? It's a view from St. John's Church in Coxtown, looking at, this is the Bangalore cantonment. The photograph is taken in 1910 by a missionary, and it had this beautiful bungalow character. You can see the steeple of the St. Xavier's Cathedral on one side, St. John's Church on the other side, and it looked like it was an astonishingly beautifully well laid out place. And this was a school, which still exists. And this was all integrated, the residential areas were integrated with the schools, there were markets. There are 127 markets in Bangalore. Very few people know that. Everybody goes to the mall these days, but there are markets in Bangalore. And this is how Lal Bagh looked. If I just put color on that image and change the people around wearing cooler clothes, do you think you can think that this could be a modern city? This photograph is 1910 in Bangalore. Look at that. Can anybody recognize that? That's Brigade Road in 1990, not very long ago. This was all the traffic we had. The footpaths were wide enough, and all the young guys used to go and hang out there and act cool and all that. But now you just rush past, right? There's nothing much to do. Look at that. That is MG Road in 1930, 1940, and you can still see that shop is still there. The Vale and Company is still existing, and Mr. Popat Jamal is still selling glassware in the store next door. But it's replaced by some ugly-looking simulacrum of this building. And it's not that, we were all old-fashioned and stodgy, and, you guys have all the pubs and the cool places to go to. These guys were racing Lambertas on Jakkur Airfield. This is 1975. Right? And you know who the guy on the right is? And the guys on the right and left is actually, one of them is still alive. He is the owner of Safina Plaza. Haji Abdul Sattar Seth is the left, and that guy is Fred Webb, who used to own Webb's Garage. So these guys were they were having races in 1970 on the Jakkur Airfield using Lambertas. Can anybody recognize that? This is an extraordinarily significant picture for Bangalore. Can anybody recognize that in the audience? Can anybody think loudly? Exactly. It's the scene of KR Market before the flyover came over. And this picture is particularly significant because of, you see that electric pole without any lights in the middle of the picture, to the right of the picture, which looks like it's going to be taken down. That electric pole is the first electric light in Asia. Can you believe it? And they broke it. And the first place in any city in Asia in 1906, when an electric light came on, it came on there. And the pole doesn't even exist anymore. So I think Indians have got too much history. We are sick of it. We just want to keep looking at we don't care too much, like some old stuff and all that. So I don't know whether that's a good thing, because what we are doing is, by disregarding our past, and we are now going to screw up our future. This is Bangalore, tree line, Malleshwaram roads, not just monuments. It's 1990, it's Brigade Road. Unbelievable. And we are talking about widening roads. We are saying that, nobody knows how to do it, the ditches are broken, etc., etc. But what was wrong with this? This was perfectly all right, in my opinion. No brands though. You can't see any fancy brands. Can you see that all this has become something like Lee Sport or something like that? Just the brands have changed, but that's about it. This is Kantirava Stadium. Can you believe it? This was a beautiful lake there, and there's a garden, and there's a school, and that behind that is Kavan Park. This picture is not taken very long ago. It's about 1935. So we already had everything. And about a year ago, I'm always a great fan of the city. I had about 300, 400 pictures of the city, which I had collected over 20 years. And I couldn't find any more. So we started a Facebook group called Bangalore Photos from a Bygone Age. And in 1 year, we have 10,800 members. And now the number of pictures in the group have gone to 3,000 pictures. It's like an incredible history of the city going back to almost 150 years, collected by crowdsourcing. Every day we get about 30 people, one classroom or one bus joining the group every single day. And it's growing bigger and bigger. These are special photographs. Nobody has ever seen them. You are the first audience to ever see these rare pictures. So I want to talk about something about the landscapes of change. So this is what Bangalore looked like in 1975. Can you see the amount of lakes in Bangalore? There were about 300 plus within the city. This is what the city looked like. And you can recognize one of them. You know, the big lake in the bottom is Bellandur Tank on the bottom right. Today, you know what happened? Only that much exists. Can you see the drama there? It's only about 80 of them are left, and most of them, they're also gasping for breath. Look at that, look at that. It's gone. The city has lost its touch with its water heritage, it's lost touch with its past, it's lost touch with what is important. And I don't know whether any of you can recognize this picture. It's Hosur Road. Can you believe it, 1940? And please note that electric pole standing there, right behind, this is a fold in the paper, I'm sorry, but behind that there's an electric pole. And you see all these trees and this quiet little guy coming home on Hosur Road. And now it looks like this. And if you notice, the electric pole is still in the same place. And the shape of the trees is now the shape of the flyover. Can you see that? It's like an astonishing photograph. See the shape of the tree is now the concrete tree has come. So, and the Jhatka Kadi is somewhere inside that middle still, I think, poor guy, you know. And in the 90s, suddenly we lost touch with our old heritage, and we came up with some crazy looking buildings like this. And do you know where the Kemp comes from? It's from Kempegowda. And look, imagine what he would have done if he had seen this. No? Think about it. So, I don't know how many of you know the word tabula rasa. It just means clean slate. It's Latin for clean slate. So, should a city be designed and the future of a city made on a clean slate, or should it have a link back to urban memory? That's the question I'm trying to ask today. We saw some interesting Kam Chalu, Move Band. But this is the height of disrespect. The poor guy has put a Ganesha statue there, and the Ganesha is now the god of garbage. Can you see that? There's a Ganesha, and nobody cares even for that anymore. You know, it's become, people have become that callous, and things have to change. All we know about the city is some strange looking drawing like this that the government gives us. We have no clue how to read that drawing, and nobody has any can any of you make any sense of that? I can't. I'm an architect. I'm supposed to, but I cannot. So we have no. And we are stuck with these antiquated tools which are paper-based and secrecy, and nobody shares information. And the city we cannot progress in urban India like this anymore. You know, in about 10 years ago, we started an initiative called the BATF about 15 years ago, and we actually said, let's build toilets. This is what the toilet looked like the day it was inaugurated, right? It was a beautiful little toilet, all perfect. It became a public asset. And that's what the toilet looks like now, on top. And that's what they did in the last few days to clean it up. And you know, look at, in less than 10 years, the building looked like that, a total disaster. Why have I put this strange looking statement here? Yeah, good for you. I couldn't come up with a clever enough anagram, so we're all having blind spots. Bangalore went from pensioners' paradise, in the drawings of Paul Fernandez, one of the best artists Bangalore has produced, and it went from there, then people started calling it a garden city, then it went to pub town. If you notice, that monkey top is continuous. Look at that, it still has the monkey top left, and then it became boom town where everything, this half of the house was for sale and that half was not for sale. And then it became Silicon City, little bit went crazy. We had a lot of internet pubs, and And then finally the monkey top is still there on the top drawing. Now it's become Bangalore, all bungled up completely. So Bangalore has an unusual past. We were cosmopolitan before any other city in India was cosmopolitan. We are more than 150 years ago. There were all kinds of people living here. We are easygoing. We like greenery. And we can actually go to, it's the only city in India where you can go to an auto and speak in 5 languages. But metaphorically also, the auto driver is now asking all of you, where do you want to go? Hello, Tira. And the city has got both a fairly cantonment side and probably a very, people who have been in the city for a long time, who speak the local language. I think it's important to all of you to understand that there is not 2 cities. It's all one. We're all together. And a city of migrants plus the city of the natives will provide a vibrant city. Suppose we said that let's had a second chance and we could go back to the future. And curiously, the movie Go Back to the Future the guy comes to in his car is this year. It's 2014. And what if you could, curiously. This is the first time a Bangalore was depicted this is a drawing made in 1792. This is the Lal Bagh Rock, which you can see on the left with that little pillar, and that's the fort of Bangalore. And what you see there are the cypress trees, which Hyder Ali had imported from Lebanon. That was the core of Lal Bagh. And then you can see on the right is Sampangi Ramnagar, which is now next to the Kantirwa Stadium. All this is the old fort. This was an incredible painting made in the 1970s, again curiously from the same spot, by a great artist called Hanumaya. See the low-rise character of the city. The Vidhan Saudha is the tallest building around. How much things have changed in such a short time. We should all come together, and rather than just based on how many roads we can make, how many flyovers we can do some more, how many underpasses, this kind of move away from this conversation from infrastructure to move away to a conference about urban experience and memory and shared experiences together, which can be measurable. This is MG Road in 1990. Can you see all the autos are also organized? No traffic jam. In 1990, we had very good air quality. So why don't we pose a thing to the government, a radical statement? I actually got a little piece of paper just now. I didn't have time to put it together. It says 70% of our trees have gone in the last 30 years. Plant more trees. 1/3 of garbage is really collected on a daily basis, and a lot of it just ends up unsegregated and chucked into landfills. 2 million people out of 9 million people in the city live in slums, which is a disgrace, which is in high, deep poverty. And do you know what is the worst statistic of all? Between 1990 and this year, there is a 600% increase in pollution. Can you believe that? So why should we listen to this? And we also need a measurable. I want to see a politician will say, hey, let's make Bangalore like the 70s. Forget about importing from Singapore and importing from Shanghai and all these things. And how can we do it? We have tried to make a website. We're also trying to take it on the ground. We have a website called nextbangalore.com, and where you can go and you can make the changes you like to the city. And through this, we would like to achieve a crowdsourced vision of Bangalore rather than a top-down vision from bureaucrats and planners. Thank you very much.